Hello, everyone. This is Real Life Experiences, and today we have a special guest, and I'm just gonna let her introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Marcy Tabarosi. I live in Joplin. Came down to school to go to Ozark Christian College in 2017 and calling Joplin home for right now.
Great. So I just wanted to ask you like a little bit about yourself, and can you just tell us more about what it's like to be a student at Ozark?
Oh man. It's a joy. I loved my time at Ozark. I come from a different religious background. I grew up Catholic, and so being at Ozark was not in my picture at all. In high school, I just planned on going to a state school somewhere in Kansas, originally from the Kansas City area, and just thought, oh, I'm just going to follow my friends and go to college somewhere. And had a really great friend who I think so much for her and invited me to church and got me connected with some people at my church, and my youth pastor went to Ozark, and so just looked at Ozark for an option. Really wanted to get out of the Kansas City area, like after like towards my end of high school year with my family and stuff, and so came down to Ozark and loved it. Um, Studied for 4 years, got a bachelor's in Christian ministry, and working at a local nonprofit right now in Joplin, and hoping to just continue doing ministry however that looks like.
I mean, that's great. I think that having such a goal it takes like a lot of courage. So you did say you moved here to Joplin. So where are you originally from?
I am originally from Leavenworth, Kansas. It's like 20 minutes north of Kansas City on the Kansas side. So that's where I grew up. Lived there my whole life until I moved down to Joplin for college.
Wow, that's a big change.
Yeah, definitely. How far away is that from Joplin? Is that
Um,
like a long drive?
no, it's like oh, it's like 2.5 hours. It's like in between 2.5 and 3 hours. It really depends on traffic and how fast you want to drive on the highway. That I can make it in 2.5 or around like right around like 3 hours. So it's not bad. It's not a bad drive.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I 100% admire you. And today we're going to be touching a topic that I feel like a lot of students might, including myself, might relate to, which is sometimes we deal with depression. And I just wanted to know, like, I know you talked to me about it. You found yourself like in a really dark place, and I just wanted to know, like, how were you able to overcome like depression?
Yeah. So gonna dive in real deep for everybody. Just to give a background. I am 24 and I lost my mom my senior year of high school, so February of 17. And I also lost my dad my senior year of college in January of 21. So my last like 7 years of life have been uh, really, really bad, and a lot of just living life more than I ever thought I was going to be at the age that I am. And yeah,
Wow.
just like thinking back, like with my mom, didn't have a really close relationship with her, and so I just thought, hey, I'm not gonna grieve. Like this is like I'm gonna be okay, and not,
Right.
not. I want everybody to know if you lose somebody, like your body and your like mind will react like some way. Um, and so I just did like a whole 360 and just like was really sick and just didn't go to school a whole lot because it's like my last semester of senior year. Like it's just busy work. And there was just a lot of, I like if I went to class and went to school, like all the things I was doing in class, I could do from home because we all had iPads. And so I was like, what's the point of like sitting in class for like 6 hours? Like I can just be at home and like do it from the couch or like from my bed. And so I spent a lot of time not being at school. From February to May, I don't remember a whole lot from my last semester from high school. I just like best way to describe it is just really like frozen. I just like was in a really hard place of
Mm-hmm.
I like lost my mom and I'm
Right.
18 and but I'm like also like trying to like get ready to like I was excited for school and like moving in August to start college and a new like just starting a new thing. And I like just remember like it was just really hard. And I like even in high school I don't think like depression or anxiety was like talked about a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very like newer thing, and so I didn't really like know that I was like going through depression
Mm-hmm.
until I got to college and I like talked to some really good friends and just kind of discovered like, oh yeah, like just not remembering a whole lot for like 4.5 months, like that's not normal.
Right.
Like not normal at all. Um, I battled with that for a while, like going through college. Even just thinking back like through like some of my like early classes at Ozark, I don't remember a whole lot. And I just like feel like really bad about that. I loved my classes. I loved my friends and I loved my professors, but also I was dealing with a whole lot that
Mm-hmm.
not a whole lot of people around me have like had lost a parent and or like gone through something like really hard like that.
Right.
And I like even like today I would be like, man, I would really love to like redo my freshman year at Ozark.
Oh.
Like the classes because I don't remember a whole lot and I feel really bad saying that. But I just think like there was just so much in my head. Like my mind like could not like it was full capacity and I was still feeling it and I didn't have any room left. And just even like processing like after like moving to Ozark and like experiencing the whole like college life of going to classes and having friends and all the things, I still really battled a lot with depression and anxiety and like really thought like as I got closer to my junior and senior year, I'm like, okay, I got this together.
Mm-hmm.
I like have it all figured out. And honestly, like I was just super blessed to have a lot of friends who turned into family and mentors in my life that man, they just kept me going and I am so thankful for them like to this day. And moving into with my dad, he just got sick really suddenly. Like the time that he went to the hospital and the time that he passed away, it was 3 weeks exactly. So it was a very like sudden thing that happened. And I just like didn't think about like, man.
So you were going through the hardship of losing your mom when you moved to Ozark,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were left with your dad,
Mm-hmm.
who was pretty much the only person supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you stated something very, very important. Depression and anxiety are topics that we don't hear a lot of people talk about. And it is so, so, so important that we are able to talk about this kind of things. And I just want to just say thank you for opening up to us because this is not an easy conversation to have. And I'm so glad that you were able to find your friends that are now family because I feel like we know who our true friends are in the hard times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with my dad, moving into my senior year, I was like, man, I'm so excited to like be done with school and I'm going to graduate. And I had a plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to move and I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I'm like, I'm so ready. And that like was cut really short, like with my dad. My last semester of college was like, gosh, it was so horrible, but so good, but so horrible at the same time. I was going to class full time. I was doing an internship. I was working, which I just picked kids up from school. So it was my job and it was fun. But also because my dad passed away, he named me executor in charge of like the estate and everything. So that meant I was in charge of literally everything. And
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot for a 22-year-old to have to learn about that. Because like people even 3 times my age, like in their 60s and 70s, have never like even done that before. So it's just a lot of new things, and I really like how, like looking back, like how like depression, um, like I had that like during that season. It was like I remember things more than I did like with my mom in that season after her passing. But again, like my mind was just so full of doing all the things that I already like had to do for that last semester to finish out graduating, and then on top of like my dad and all the things I had to do for that, I I did not like fully grieve until like a year and a half after he passed away. So like 6 months ago. Because this January will be 2 years since he passed. So it hasn't been like, it's been like a long time, but like looking back, not really. But like my like depression, like through that season of like grieving was, I have to do all these things. Like I literally had like every day I had all the things I had to do for class and for my internship and for work. And then it's like I had a list of all these things of like, okay, I have to do all these executor things. Like it was like another like full-time job like on top of like school. And I just didn't have like any more space to like actually like sit and like to grieve. And so like depression came in and was like, okay, Marcy, like you have to do all these things and you have to finish it out, and then it's going to be great and you're going to be good. And that wasn't it.
Right.
Like that wasn't like, it wasn't good. And I am like still working through like the effects of like, man, like I like really did not grieve like after like my dad passing, like, and I'm thinking like looking back and thinking like, man, how did I really make it through? And honestly, like it was my people. Like there are handful of people like in Joplin, but also in my hometown that stepped up and helped me do so many things. And man, I am just so thankful that they literally kept me alive. Like they literally did. And my puppy. Can't forget my puppy Penny. She was my graduation present to myself, and I like even just thinking back through like the early months of having her, it was right after I got her, like right after I got done cleaning my house out, and just thinking like, man, like I'm so glad I have her because like she gives me a purpose to do something. Like she's a puppy, so like she has to go outside like every like 20 minutes, and it's so annoying. But like I have to like let her out of her crate, and I have to like let her go outside, and like things like that, that if I didn't have her, like I would have just like laid in bed all day and like watched Netflix. Like I like could already like see myself like doing that. And just because like from January to May, I had all these things. And then the summer after graduation, the goal was to clean my house out and to like get it on the market and all these things. So I had all these like purposes. And then I like came back to Joplin because I was like, I decided I was going to take a gap year in between, like, figuring out grad school stuff. And I chose to stay in Joplin because my community here from the last, like, 4 years was here. And I was like, this is just the safest spot I need to be at right now. And I came back and I was like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to do? I've graduated. I've, like, done all these things, like, with my house. And, like, my dog really, like, helped me in that way to, like, figure out, like, okay, like, I can do normal life things. Like,
How were you? So you were on your senior year when your dad passed away. How, I mean, I don't even know like how you did and continued studying and went through finals with everything that happened to you.
yeah. I would say my professors were so gracious to me. And, like, Ozark is a really, like, not like small school, but there's like 1,000 of us. And you just, like, get to know all the professors and, like, their families and things like that. And a lot of them knew, like, coming into Ozark, like, what have happened. And I've, like, talked about my mom and, like, papers and things like that. And I my not gonna lie, my last semester was, like, pretty easy. I took a winter session is what they call it. So you go to class for, like, a whole week for, like, 6 hours a day before spring semester starts. And I was supposed to do that, and my dad ended up getting sick, like, that week, so I ended up having to do all of that online. And my professor for that class was so gracious of, like, okay, deadlines are due, like, before spring break in March, but, like, I know you're going through a lot and there's so many other things, like, that are taking, like, priority right now that you can have past spring break to finish all these things. So, like, that was a very, like, gracious thing. So I had, like, extended time to do assignments. I took one class online, and that was an 8-week course. So that was, like, pretty easy to, like, not, like, I don't want to sound bad and say get it over with, but I, like, it was just, like, nice of, like, okay, it was, like, the first 8 weeks and I could just, like, get it done, and, like, it just, like, lessened my load a little bit. And then I was, like, doing an internship, so that technically counted as a class, but, like, I did that, like, not on days that I had class at Ozark. And so that was, like, an easy, like, 3 credits that I didn't really, like, have to sit in class to do that. And then I had one class in person, and I took credit for, yeah, one class in person, and then I had another class in person, but I was auditing that class. And so it ended up being, like, a pretty, like, easy load with my last semester with class and stuff. But yeah, it was it was not fun. Like,
Right.
it wasn't I would not recommend it for anybody.
See, I just admire you because I had a not near as like your experience, but back in 2020, my dad he was positive on COVID, and I just remember when the doctor called me, and he's like, "Your dad's only gonna have about a week." He was in intensive care, and I just remember like my family getting ready to be like we're losing, like I'm losing my dad, my mom's losing her husband. And I just remember feeling extremely depressed. And I didn't know that that's what it was and how much it can affect you.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, in my case, my dad was able to make it, but I'm telling you, like I still remember when they called me. I was actually shopping at Walmart, and I had my card, and I had my food in there, and when they called me, when they literally told me like at max he has a week, and I just remember like my body just froze in that moment, and I left everything, and I just went to my car, and I just ended up crying. And the thing is, I was the primary person that they were calling because my dad knew how my mom would react, and my mom doesn't take emotions. Not saying that I do, but I'm like, I try to be strong for her. And so I just remember like I ended up crying, but then I had to call my mom and have to, try to give her the news as best as I could. And that's why I'm like, how? I mean, you like I just remember I wanted to quit. Like I was enrolled, and if I recall, I did ended up actually dropping my classes out because I'm like, I can't do this. I'm going through a lot, and I'm just, I mean, to me, wow, you just did it, you know. Wow. I mean, I was that like, did your dad inspired you for that? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you need true love inspiration.
Yes. Yeah, it was, not gonna lie, I really like thought about dropping my last semester, and I was like, there's just like, I just like knew, I was like, there's just so many things I have to do, like how am I gonna get through it? And but at the same time I was like, man, I am so close to being done. Like this is my last semester. I was like, I'm so much, like so close. And like part of me was just like, I just like want to graduate with my friends. Like I don't want to like have to like wait another semester, and like it might be hard to come back and like finish out, and like sitting through classes that I don't have, like all my friends graduated, so like I'm not going to enjoy if I have to come back. And also there was a time, like it was like a couple days before my dad had his surgery, and he got really sappy, and would just like have conversations with me, and I just decided to pull my phone out and do like the voice memo like recording. And cuz I had no idea that what was going to like happen with my dad. I just thought, man, the doctors like know what they're doing. He has surgery. They're going to figure out what's happening. Like it's going to be okay. But part of me's like, this is really serious that my dad's in the hospital and they're having to do surgery and like having to figure out what's going on. And just even with past experience with my mom, I was like, I know something, like this is not like a coincidence and a thing of like that something, it's happening, and like something might turn out like really bad. And so I just ended up like having conversations with my dad and like turned my phone on. He had no idea that I was recording his voice, but I just was like, man, I need like that piece of, if I can hear his voice again, like if anything happens, like I'll have it. And there was a conversation that happened that he was just like, he knew I was supposed to be in Joplin. I was supposed to be sitting in class right now, because he knew, like that's why I was like leaving early to come back to Joplin, because I had class, and he knew I was supposed to be in class. And he told, like, I haven't listened to it like since I like took it, because I don't know how I'm going to do about it. But there was a conversation that I recorded that my dad and I were just talking about class and finishing out the semester, and he told me, like what I remember, he said, Marcy, like I don't care if I have to watch on a computer screen and like watch you graduate. Like I want you to finish. Like I want you to like go back to Joplin, finish the semester out, like you graduate. Like I don't care. Like whatever happens, like you finish, because you've made it this far. Like you got to finish. And I was like, in my head I was like, well, if I can't get myself, like can't tell myself like you're gonna finish, well, my dad told me you gotta do it, basically. So that's what I did.
That's incredible. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just.
I mean, I have tears.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Um, London, did you wanted to add or say something?
Uh, you have me speechless. I mean, you're a true inspiration, and just coming from, I know college is so hard, and on top of all that, it's just incredible that you graduated and that you are where you are. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
You really should. You should be very proud of yourself, because I know everybody in this room is proud of you.
Yes.
And I mean, that's something. I mean, it's just speechless, really.
Mm. What advice would you give to students that are probably going through the same situation?
Yeah. I really hope you're not having to be executor at 18 to 24. If you are, I can help you out to save you some money. I know the tricks of the trade. But with depression and even like anxiety, man, I would say even if you're not religious or you go to church or anything like that, man, just find some friends who are just real friends who will just let you text them or call them or just like be able to go over to their house and just like sit on their couch and give you a really good hug. Just find your people who will just honestly just let you sit in silence or like allow you to be the person to like talk about things, or find some friends who are just really supportive, like they're supportive and they ask really good questions because they mean well, like they want to know how you are truly doing. I this cracks me up even just like trying to think about it. It's just like, people ask you like, hey, the question, hey, how are you doing? And a lot of my friends know this is a Marcy response of, I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I'm okay. And, my friends really know if I'm actually okay, or they're like, Marcy, you're not doing good. And like, we want to know what's past the okay.
Mm.
Like, if you really are doing okay, like, they know that response. Like, they know, like, okay, you're just, going with the flow. Like, you're doing really good. And then there's people who like know to go past that barrier of like, I'm like, they know like you're not really doing okay. Like, let me know like why you're not doing okay. Like, and they ask
Right.
questions and it's like meaningful. I don't like, even just like find a group of people, find something that like brings you joy. If you have a dog, take him on walks or runs or like drive to Arkansas. It's really great, and go hike or go to some really cool coffee shops. There's some really cool ones in Bentonville. Or find the things that like bring you joy and like kind of just like
Yes.
bring you out of that like dark place, and like just like brings you brings you back to life in
Yes.
those seasons.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. I mean, we learned so much from you today. And just thank you so much for sharing. So yeah, so this was Marcy with Real Life Experiences.